He was fearless. He defied empires. He didn't beg for change. He demanded it. And in just 4 short years, he transformed a nation and inspired a continent. This is not just history. This is a revolution. Welcome to the untold story of Thomas Sankara, the man they called Africa's Che Guevara. Welcome, my amazing audience. Whether you're a longtime subscriber or brand new here, I'm so glad you're watching. This channel is all about awakening minds, telling powerful stories, and revealing the truth behind the headlines. So if you're someone who craves real knowledge and bold ideas, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button to support independent storytelling, subscribe to join this growing community, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single episode that could change the way you see the world. Now, imagine a leader who refused to take a presidential salary, sold off luxury government cars, made his country self-sufficient in food, empowered women, planted millions of trees, and told the IMF and World Bank, "We owe you nothing." That man was Thomas Sankara. He didn't just lead, he lived his revolution, with simplicity, honesty, and unshakable courage. But his bold vision came at a price. Stay with me as we uncover the life, the mission, and the legacy of one of Africa's greatest sons. Let's begin. Early life and background. Before the revolution, before the speeches, and before the legacy, there was a boy born into colonial Africa. Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara was born on December 21, 1949, in Yako, a small town in what was then called Upper Volta, a land still under French colonial rule. He came from a modest family. His father, a former soldier in the French army, and his mother, a deeply religious woman, raised Thomas with strong moral values, discipline, honesty, and service to others. But young Sankara wasn't just a quiet kid. From early on, he questioned the world around him. Why were African countries poor? Why did foreign powers control their resources? Why were the leaders serving outsiders and not their own people? These questions would later drive his revolutionary fire. As a student, Sankara was sharp, curious, and deeply influenced by history, philosophy, and politics. He wasn't just studying to pass exams, he was studying to understand how power worked, and more importantly, how to challenge it. He joined the military at just 19 years old, not because he wanted war, but because he believed the army could be a tool for national transformation. He trained in Madagascar, where he witnessed student uprisings and learned firsthand how people could stand up against oppressive regimes. It was there that he began reading Marx, Lenin, and Che Guevara, planting the seeds of the revolutionary he would soon become. By the time he returned to Upper Volta, Sankara wasn't just a soldier, he was a man on a mission. And he knew that true freedom wouldn't come through foreign aid or political deals, it would come through the people taking back their power. That's how the story begins. A humble boy from Yako, shaped by the struggles of his nation and the weight of injustice, would soon become the voice of a new Africa. Rise to power. By the early 1980s, Upper Volta was a nation in crisis. Corruption was rampant, the economy was collapsing, and the people were hungry, both literally and for real leadership. Politicians served foreign interests, the military was divided, and hope felt like a luxury most couldn't afford. But in the middle of all this chaos stood Captain Thomas Sankara, sharp-minded, deeply principled, and unwilling to play political games. He quickly rose through the military ranks, not because of privilege, but because of discipline, courage, and a rare sense of integrity. People took notice. He didn't dress like a general or speak like a typical officer, he spoke like a man of the people. While other officials enjoyed fancy perks, Sankara rode his bike, played guitar, and refused to live above the people he served. In 1981, he was appointed Secretary of State for Information. But when he realized the government was using him as a puppet, he resigned in protest, famously declaring, "He who feeds you, controls you." That one statement shook the political establishment. He wasn't here to smile for the cameras. He was here to spark a movement. By 1983, tensions were high. The people were ready for change. The youth, students, workers, and even soldiers, saw Sankara as a symbol of real hope. On August 4, 1983, a group of young revolutionaries, led by Sankara's close friend Blaise Compaoré, launched a popular coup. It wasn't about seizing power for power's sake, it was about taking it back for the people. Sankara, just 33 years old, became the president of Upper Volta. But one of his first moves said everything about the revolution to come. He renamed the country to Burkina Faso, meaning, land of upright people. No longer would they carry the colonial name. No longer would they bow to foreign masters. A new era had begun, led by one of the youngest, boldest, and most visionary leaders Africa had ever seen. Key reforms and achievements. When Thomas Sankara took power, he didn't wait. He hit the ground running with a bold, fearless agenda that shocked the elites, inspired the people, and made headlines around the world. In just 4 years, he transformed Burkina Faso from one of the poorest countries on earth into a model of self-reliance, dignity, and people-first leadership. Let's break down some of the most powerful changes he made. 1. Renaming the nation. One of his first symbolic acts was renaming Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, land of upright people. This wasn't just a name change. It was a declaration of identity. A statement that Burkinabe people would stand tall, free from colonial shame. 2. Economic independence and anti-corruption. Sankara rejected foreign aid that came with strings attached. He believed aid was just another form of control. He slashed the salaries of top officials, including his own, sold off luxury government vehicles, and banned first-class travel for ministers. His famous quote, "You cannot carry out fundamental change without a certain amount of madness." That madness, it looked like accountability and honesty, rare things in African politics. 3. Agricultural revolution. Before Sankara, Burkina Faso depended heavily on imported food. Within 4 years, his policies helped the country become self-sufficient in grain production. He redistributed land from feudal landlords to peasants, provided cheap tools, and encouraged hard work and national pride. 4. Women's empowerment. Sankara was one of the first African leaders to truly stand up for women's rights. He banned forced marriages, promoted female education, appointed women to high-ranking positions, and even encouraged men to experience household chores to understand gender equality. He said, "The revolution and women's liberation go together. We do not talk of women's emancipation as an act of charity." 5. Health and environment. He launched mass vaccination campaigns, immunizing millions of children against diseases like measles and polio. He also launched a major fight against desertification by planting over 10 million trees across the country. 6. Education and infrastructure. Under his leadership, thousands of schools, health centers, roads, and railways were built, by the people, for the people. He believed in, do it ourselves, development, saying, who else can develop Africa but us? In just 4 years, Thomas Sankara proved what visionary, people-driven leadership could do, without corruption, without foreign control, and without excuses. But as his star rose, powerful enemies were watching. Not everyone wanted a free and self-reliant Africa. Pan-Africanism and foreign policy. Thomas Sankara wasn't just building a nation, he was trying to awaken a continent. His vision went far beyond Burkina Faso's borders. He believed that Africa could only be truly free if all African nations stood together. He was a bold voice for Pan-Africanism, the idea that African countries should unite politically, economically, and culturally to fight against neocolonialism, foreign debt, and exploitation. Sankara spoke out against the system of Western domination, especially through institutions like the IMF and World Bank. He famously said, "Debt is a cleverly managed reconquest of Africa. It is a tool used by the rich to control the poor." In 1987, he stood in front of African leaders at an Organization of African Unity (OAU) summit and called for a united front to refuse to pay foreign debt. He said if just one country resisted, it would be crushed, but if they all did it together, they could break free. That speech was electric. He spoke with clarity, truth, and conviction, words many leaders didn't dare say out loud. But it wasn't just talk. Sankara rejected foreign aid with political conditions, reduced Burkina Faso's dependency on imports, and refused to bow to former colonial powers like France. He also supported liberation movements across Africa, from South Africa to Namibia, offering solidarity to those still fighting colonial or apartheid regimes. He challenged hypocrisy, condemned injustice, and always put African dignity first. To the West, he was dangerous. To African youth, he was a hero. His foreign policy wasn't about diplomacy, it was about revolution on a continental scale. But when you speak that boldly, and inspire that many, you make enemies. Powerful ones. And so, the revolution that gave so many people hope, was about to face its greatest threat. Assassination and legacy. On October 15, 1987, the revolution was silenced, by bullets, betrayal, and fear. Thomas Sankara was just 37 years old when he was assassinated in a violent coup d'état. The attack was swift, brutal, and orchestrated from within. His former ally and friend, Blaise Compaoré, seized power, claiming Sankara had gone too far, too fast. But the truth, his ideas were too dangerous to those who benefited from Africa's weakness. They didn't just kill a man that day, they tried to kill a movement. For years, Sankara's name was erased from textbooks, banned from public speech, and buried under the weight of dictatorship. But legends don't die in silence. They live in whispers, in songs, in the hearts of the people. Today, Thomas Sankara is more alive than ever. His speeches are studied in universities. His portraits hang in protest squares. His words fuel a new generation of Africans fighting for justice, dignity, and true independence. He left no mansion, no millions, no monuments. What he left was more powerful, a legacy of courage, truth, and integrity. He taught us that a better Africa was possible, not through charity, but through character. Not through pity, but through pride. Not tomorrow, but now. In his own words, while revolutionaries as individuals can be murdered, you cannot kill ideas. So as you listen to this story, remember, it's not just history. It's a call to action. Thomas Sankara lived for the people, died for the truth, and continues to inspire the future. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Like this video, subscribe for more untold truths, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let Sankara's voice echo through us, until the world he dreamed of becomes the world we live in.